Shall we go down? This is the aisle
Yeah,
we
let's
didn't
go down
look
this
at?
first aisle. We didn't look at this one.
Okay.
This one there?
This one? Ooh.
That's pretty long.
This is it.
The first time I told another human being was when I was 44. I told a psychiatrist in a session. Saying it out loud was probably one of the hardest things I ever did in my life. I never actually had said that to another human being in any setting whatsoever. From the time I was 4 years old, I've known, cross-dressed, I've gone to psychiatrists, counselors, therapists, church, pray the queer away, whatever, try. But I never, ever admitted to another human being out loud that I was transgender. Right? Okay, so let's try putting some of this forward a bit.
Your cap came off, thing.
Oh, no, where's my cap? I gotta wear my cap, okay.
Okay.
I was terrified. I didn't want to be transgender. This isn't a choice. It's not fun. But I got to that crisis point. It was either transition or one way or another, something was gonna happen and I'd be dead in a few months, maybe a year. Becky's gonna hate it, but whatever.
Too bad. But you like it, that's all that
matters. But
matters.
Becky's got excellent taste.
She does have excellent taste for Becky.
I don't really know what I'm doing yet. I'm still like a novice.
You have excellent taste for DJ.
I'm still a novice. So Becky's my master of the wig. She knows what she's doing. But we try it. We'll try it. What the heck? What the heck? We'll give it a try, huh, girl?
Heck yeah.
Yeah, we'll go for it.
I first met DJ, Becky, Hillary, and Sarah Healy when they moved next door to my family in the idyllic town of Sugar Land, Texas. A conservative place where your faith, appearances, and reputation are priority. The Healys were different, and I appreciated that about them. I moved out of Texas, but we stayed in touch, and years later in 2017, DJ called to tell me his secret. DJ could no longer pretend to be someone she wasn't. DJ was a woman. DJ was Danielle. A world-renowned patent attorney, Danielle's transition attracted media attention, and the legal world and traditional community took notice. Soon after her transition, Danielle contacted me to direct a comedy series she had written about her experience navigating this new world. After a day of shooting, it became clear that the excellence Danielle brings to her legal career did not translate to her acting ability.
What the heck happened in here?
I broke my nail.
Holy shit, Dave. I thought that you freaking cut your whole finger off, not your fingernail. You scared the crap out of me.
Don't try it again if you said Dave.
Yeah.
We'll be happy. Hello? Come open the door.
It's your mother.
Your mother, your father.
Come on, Daddy's here. Open the door.
Did you forget us?
Did Sarah explain to you that I am transgender?
We realized there was a deeper story to be told, so we decided to make a documentary instead.
When you look at me, am I playing the part right? Who do I have to be so I can start living? They say I'm done to embrace that it's ending. Can't they see for me life's just beginning?
have reached the voicemail of Danielle Joy DJ Healy. I'm the lawyer formerly known as David Healy. Please leave me a message. Thank you for calling.
Whatever, but at some point you're just going to be like, what the fuck, man? No one should be doing this but me on the stage.
Right.
Like, this is malpractice if I don't do it.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's like I had my nephew Nick when he was in college help me with an arbitration one summer at Weill. And we were working at the New York office, and he forgot his badge and security, and he's all flipping out. And I said to him, Nick, let me teach you something about life. Bottom line is, act like you're in charge and act like you know what you're doing, because nobody knows who's in charge and nobody knows what they're doing. And if you act like you're in charge, people will think you are. And I said, look, when you walk by the guard, you just like casually say hello, you know, blah, blah, blah. I've seen you a couple of times. You just walk in like you own the place. And he won't give a shit. And sure enough, that's what Nick did. All right, ma'am, I'll let you get on with your walk.
All right.
See you later. Talk to you later. Bye-bye. My mother had her hands full taking care of 4 young children pretty much on her own. And my father was very detached. He was a severe alcoholic. I had a room set up in the basement. My sister used to call it my man cave. And in fact, it was actually my lady closet. Every day I would go down there, and my parents and family thought I was, quote, in the man cave. I was actually dressing and being myself. I'm watching Mary Tyler Moore every day, and my dream in life is to be Mary Tyler Moore. And then I thought, well, I'm never going to be good enough to be Mary Tyler Moore. That's too good for me. I'll be Rhoda. So I realized, okay, I'm never going to be the leading lady, but I could be the best friend, comic sidekick. I didn't get caught till I was probably in high school. My mother must have figured out I was dressing in her clothes, and she told my father, and my father confronted me. It was, you know, an unpleasant experience. He was yelling, not really in control. There was a distance between me and my mother because she knew about my issues and didn't like it. I was really good at hiding. I could have been the CIA. I mean, the CIA should have been recruiting back then gay and transgender people because they knew how to hide shit. And they knew how to go undercover. And I knew how to go undercover. I was trying to survive as a guy. But if losing my wife and kids had meant that I couldn't transition, I would not have transitioned. I don't know if I'd be alive today.
I am Becky Healy. I met Dave in March of 1987. Did he tell you how we went on a date?
I was having a party at my apartment.
They had an Ides of March party. So we went, and that's where we met.
She was like the embodiment of love. And she just looked at me and she said,
hello, you know, like, are you going to ask me out? And then it's like, oh, okay, I'm supposed to ask you out, you know.
She said, where are you going to take me to dinner? I said, where do you want to go to dinner? She said, Papados. I said, okay, you want to go to Papados? And then she says, when are we going? I said, when do you want to go? She said, the day after tomorrow. I said, okay.
It was comical almost.
And so I went to Papados with her, and we ended up closing the restaurant down. I knew right then that we were going to get married. I knew right then, that first night, as they were vacuuming and picking up food and crap off the floor around us, that we were going to get married. Who eats the top of the egg food cake? Only the top, the very top. The best part, Becky. Becky eats the best part and leaves the other part for people.
He wasn't pretentious and wasn't pretending, just was having a good time who he was. You know, you date so many people and you just you learn what you don't want and what you don't like. I probably was at that point where it was just like, okay, I was just done with the bullshit and, the facade and the pretending and trying to dress up and, impress people. And I'm not that kind of a person, and neither is Dave.
Everybody on this front row, stand. I want you to bend from the waist and bring your faces down closer to me.
Becky, do it.
Being a person who had always had a hard time feeling loved because of my transgender nature, I'd always had that sort of hole. And Becky really was just a magical person who was love itself.
Oh my God, we're all so young.
Oh, you were fun.
Oh, look, oh, cool. This is my whole family. Okay, this is the funniest picture because everybody asked me why I wasn't wearing white at my wedding. They thought I was my sister sitting on Dave's lap.
Why didn't you wear white?
I am.
It's your sister.
That's my sister. Everywhere we go, everybody asks. Thinks
so
we're
much
twins.
alike.
Did you ever make that mistake and make out with Ruth?
No.
Not that you remember.
Oh my God! You did not get that on tape, did you? She got that on tape. Here.
I am Becky's sister, Ruth.
I'm older, although she's a lot bossier.
Okay. Ready? No more champagne.
Dave is so funny that he's doing this.
Doing this thing.
This, yes.
Why?
Oh, I think it's great.
But why do you think it's great?
Why do I think it's great? Well, it exposes things that most people have no idea exist.
I had a pink pen, and I was so mad when I lost it.
Yeah.
Because every time I pick it up, I'd say, "Come on, Barbie, let's go party." Because it was pink, like Barbie pink.
Fuck yeah.
I spend a lot of time with Becky, and even if we don't spend time together, we talk every day, several times a day. Probably since after college, yeah. We're very close.
Oh my God, shut up. Baby girl. What happened? You didn't know that when Dave got married, he laughed. You got devilish face on him.
At one point, we're kneeling in these kneelers during the Mass, and for some reason, this whole wedding Mass just struck me as hilarious. And I started laughing uncontrollably, and Becky's there at the Mass, and she's looking at me, and I'm shaking and biting my lip and just trying not to break out laughing. And I'm like, this is ridiculous.
The wedding was a lot of fun. My name is Michael Healy. I'm DJ's younger brother.
I'd like to make a toast to my beautiful new sister-in-law. Welcome her to our family. We love her a lot, and may you all be happy forever. Yeah. All right.
This is my studio. It's in my home in Houston, Texas. Built in 1910. There's David. He had a beard. He always had a beard. Almost his whole adult life, he's had a beard. I was just surprised when he shaved it off.
Do you think at that time DJ was shaving it off because she was becoming more and more of a woman?
Maybe. I mean, I think about it. I wouldn't have thought that my brother was a transgender woman by any stretch of the imagination, but now that she is, that is what it is. I wish he could have done it sooner. She's doing it now, and I don't see that anyone that loves her, has any issue with it because she seems happy. We all got a bag of rocks, and my job is not to make anyone else's bag of rocks heavier. If I could take someone else's rocks out, I will. If I could take some of DJ's rocks, I would take them. She's taken plenty of mine.
I studied theater for most of the time I was at Brown. From the very first days I was at Brown, I was in theatrical productions, constantly. In the school I went to, one of the biggest libraries in the United States, there were maybe 2 or 3 books that had chapters or portions on gender dysphoria or transsexualism, but there was nothing in there really about this phenomenon beyond, some pretty dated materials. So there really wasn't much to use to come to grips with and learn about this. I mean, I thought I was a freak. I didn't know there was ever anybody else really like me. When the internet came along, I guess around the late 90s or 2000, and there was a woman named Lynn Conway, and she had been an electrical engineer who went to work for IBM, and she was transgender. And when she told IBM that she was going to transition, they fired her. And so she went stealth. So she became very, very prominent and became a professor at the University of Michigan, teaching electrical engineering. And she put up a site, basically successful transgender women. And she'd have like a page of, transgender women in academia. And there was somebody who was actually a very famous economist who had transitioned. There was biologists. There were, all kinds of famous academics. And then she had scientists. And then she had, entertainers. And she showed all these pictures of very successful transgender women who probably were not known. That may have even been their coming out. I remember seeing that site, and that site showed me for the first time that being a transgender woman didn't mean I was a sick, demented freak, that there were other people in my situation, people who were very educated, people who were very successful, people who had dealt with this.
At that point, had you confided in anyone?
No.
Any siblings, any friends?
No. I never told anybody till I was 44. When I was not able to cross-dress, I would largely suppress as best I could my feelings. I mean, staying busy becomes the ultimate diversion. And ultimately, as a lawyer, I became a workaholic. I was fortunate to be on several lists at the very top of them. Highly, highly rated, one of the best patent litigation advisors. I mean, workaholism is the only addiction where you get positive feedback. People respect you, they admire you, they look up to you. You generally make a lot of money. I know I made a lot of money.
DJ's still making this great transition. And it's kind of funny because whenever you really get to Danielle, the person that Dave became, it's a really cool thing. And there is a lot of joy, and there's a lot of peace and a lot of happiness, and that person's like under 5 layers of I was Dave Healy for 55 years or whatever. So, being Danielle still has lots of layers of Dave to let go of, if that makes any sense. There's different Daves in different time periods. But overall, the initial Dave was this incredibly fabulous person. Generous, loving, kind, understanding, fun, and then became very hardworking, and then became very evasive, just alone and angry.
I would be home 2 days a month. That's not 2 business days, that's 2 calendar days a month. I would be in Paris, I would be in Seoul, I would be in a place called Gumi, South Korea. My life was way out of whack. And, at a certain point, it was just so out of whack that I was myself getting detached from my family.
This is Hillary, and this is Dave.
One of my biggest regrets is that I missed my oldest daughter growing up from 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. I just missed 3 years of her life. And no amount of money was worth that.
I have to wear this whenever I go outside. And carry this.
I did theater all throughout high school, and then I moved out here, and just been doing the acting. For DJ, she supports me. I guess for her, part of it is like this could have been. So it's like I get to do it. And she gets to be like along the ride with me.
My family, me, my sister, my mommy, and my daddy.
Growing up in Sugar Land was kind of, you know, like every movie, there's like the little suburb where the family raises their kids, and it's like normal mom, dad, children, maybe a dog, just like nothing out of the ordinary exactly. Or at least I thought. We're not the traditional cookie cutter family. We were for a while, but not anymore. DJ's still, I'm not saying like she's a male parental figure, but it's like she's always been my dad. I don't think it's a matter of like her wanting to be like a mom figure, because she's not really like a dad figure, not a mom figure. She's DJ. She's like her own. Dad doesn't necessarily want this. It's just like dad's gotta be a woman, otherwise like dad's not gonna be dad. They did a really good job of keeping things hidden, at least from me, to where like I didn't ever have any sort of like suspicion anything was like not what it seemed. I do remember thinking like, damn, why doesn't dad care that he just wears a bunch of different polo shirts that are different colors but the same shirt every day? And he just tossed one on, like didn't really care if it had holes in it or whatever. So I'm like, oh, that makes sense. Like your appearance wasn't really like what you wanted. Like you couldn't dress how you wanted, so you were just like, screw it.
These are gorgeous. Thank you.
Daddy? Mm-hmm. These are for Dad?
Yeah, in a minute.
Wow, these are so nice.
And these are just the plain ones, and then there's other ones too.
These are great, Hill. I love this shirt. Oh,
Now the other bag, Hillary. Where's the other bag?
There's, wow, look at all this stuff. Underwear.
And Daddy, your left.
Now you have new shirts, so now you get to clean out your closet.
Wow, well that'll be Daddy's project this week. In New York, I would shop in guy mode, but you know, women's clothes, travel.
That must have been so fun for you.
I'm sure I'm here too.
Oh, Avenue. Do you remember how many times Danielle was like, you are not going shopping with me because apparently I am the source of the expenses.
Very expensive.
I am Anita Kadala, and I have known DJ since 1994. I studied computer engineering in college, and there are very few women in my classes anyway, so beyond that, you had to go to law school. In order to play in the patent area, at that time, they wanted people that either had a lot of litigation experience or an engineering and hard science degree. DJ, she always had a lot of respect for you no matter whether you were male, female, you know, whatever race you were, whatever religious beliefs you had, she still had a lot of respect. And so that was one of the other reasons why I gravitated towards her. We became fast friends. We worked on cases together. We had a lot of trust and still have a lot of trust for each other. I gave Danielle her name.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I did. But we would go on business trips together, and she would dress, and we would get to go out and have fun.
I initially called her Danielle Jade because she's such a jewel to me. And then when she came out, our friend Cynthia decided she should be Danielle Joy because actually coming out brought her so much joy. So therefore, she's got a little bit of Cynthia, a little bit of me in the name DJ.
You know, when I would go out with Cynthia or Anita, it was very affirming to be shown that you're not a horrible freak. It helped take me out of the I'm a horrible wretch mode and show me that I was still the same person at my core. You know, I was out with Cynthia and Anita since 2004. In 2004, oh my God. The first time I went out as a woman in public was when I was with Cynthia on a trip. And she was so funny because she's from Virginia, so she's kind of old school. It's the middle of New York in the summer, okay?
Which is...
And so she has me dress like a proper lady. She has these freaking thick-ass pantyhose, it's such a lie. And I'm wearing these thick pantyhose, and she found a slip, and I'm roasting hot because I'm wearing all this stuff that, you know, I have to wear as a proper lady. And then we go to Monty Python, the Holy Grail on Broadway, and then we're walking back, and they had these gypsies were on the street, like, telling fortunes. So this woman, like, is telling our fortunes, and they want to, like, lure you upstairs for more money. And she's, like, telling my fortunes, oh, well, you are deeply troubled. You're a deeply troubled person. I'm like, I'm a freaking 45-year-old guy in drag in the middle of Manhattan. Of course I'm deeply troubled. I don't need you to tell me that. You know?
DJ was very good at putting on an act for people, and particularly for her family, because if there's one thing she loves, it's her family. And for her, a big deal behind all of this was did not want to hurt her family, did not, you know, you don't know how people are going to react. And so she was very cognizant of that. And like I said, I don't know how DJ did it, because it must have taken so much energy to live a life that's not your life. But DJ did it for the right reasons. I mean, she adored her family, and that was the thing that was above all else what drove her to try to do this in a way that would not impact her family in a negative way. I can't even understand how somebody can live the life that she had to live without being able to be her true self all the time, just only on certain moments. So, and that makes me really sad. So we would go out when we were out of town so that she could actually have these moments of being herself. And the light that would come out from her when she would get to dress up and go out and be herself was something that I would have given my life for, just so that she could get to do that. Sorry.
I kind of knew, like, for the last 10 years, when I found some, like, pantyhose in his closet. I mean, I thought, okay, he's having an affair. There's girls' clothes in our, you know, whatever. So it kind of, like, flipped me out. And
Wait, no, come on. It didn't cut.
No, it flipped me out. I mean, I was like, what the fuck?
You know, I just unrolled the pantyhose, and there's like this giant pair of pantyhose, and I said, these are mine. They do not belong to a woman. These are mine. And she, like...
How did that feel?
A relief in one aspect, because he wasn't going out with someone else. Right. But then he was at the same time cheating, you know, when you think about it. Because we are two people that never hid anything from each other. But then when that happened, it was like, you know, I felt like, what was the difference at that point? You know, you're doing the same thing because you're lying to me. What we had was solid and no doubt there whatsoever. We were best friends. We were husband and wife. That was it. And when he said, you know, this is something that I've had to deal with for a very long time or whatever, I don't know. It's almost like I didn't let it affect me the way that you're thinking it should affect me. Anger, hate, betrayal, deep down, it was just superficial. And I was able to deal with that and understand it, maybe.
We decided that I would do what I needed to do to deal with it, but that we would keep it away from the kids, away from the family, and out of my professional life.
Sarah's playing videographer.
Okay, open. You've got stuff in your teeth. When was the last time you brushed them?
This morning. Put
You've got nails.
Okay, put down the camera so we get a picture of you, sweetie.
Let me take a picture of them two first.
Hillary, let me take a picture of you with them.
In 2009, you know, when Dave's like at the peak of his career, and I mean, we're traveling around the world, we're doing whatever we want, he got really sick.
Becky kept bugging me, call him, find out what's going on, call him, find out what's going on. And I said, no, they said they call if there's reports. There's nothing wrong. I'm good. There's nothing wrong. And Becky's like, Anybody home? You can't walk, you can't breathe, you can't sit up very well.
I came home and I took Dave to the ER at Methodist, and I said, you are not leaving here until we figure out what's wrong with you.
So we went. I couldn't even get out of the car. They pumped me full of diuretics, and I just started peeing and peeing and peeing out this fluid that was in my lungs. And from the time when I first got in and they weighed me and the time I was done peeing before I was admitted, I had peed out 10 pounds. So, you know, they did the workup, and I had open heart surgery. I was under anesthesia for 14 hours, and I never felt 100% after that, in the sense that I couldn't handle large suitcases anymore, or really any suitcases anymore. I couldn't, my life became so much more limited. No one noticed what I noticed in terms of my brain power. Judges didn't, opposing counsel didn't, clients didn't, witnesses didn't. I did.
What is all that?
Well, to break it down, this is estrogen and a testosterone blocker. That's Wellbutrin and Effexor. That's for, you know, staying not depressed. Serotonin. These two are hydroxyzine, PAM, or Vistrol. That's for anxiety. This is Coreg. That's heart medication. It keeps my heart beating at a nice 50, 55 beats a minute, which is sort of slow, but that keeps my heart from wearing and tearing. This is Coumadin, which is a blood thinner that I have to take every day. Otherwise, I'll have a stroke.
And you take two of them?
I take one a day.
Oh.
This is a different medication that goes with these. This is just Benadryl because the allergies are terrible right now. This is Ifaxin, which is an antibiotic that's specially designed for your intestines because I have a problem with my intestines. This is, I can't pronounce it, but that's for bladder. This is because I have sleep apnea, so that helps me stay alert. This is blood pressure.
Do you take all of these every day?
I take all these every day, and then some of these twice a day.
Okay. Yeah. And you take them all? Wow.
Oh, yeah.
I could never do that.
So right after the heart surgery, the doctor told her that you have got to stop working so much. You need to find a hobby. And so the hobby was writing. So DJ would sit there and write, you know, just a little chapter, whatever, and then put it out there just for us to read. And we're like, oh my gosh, you know, when are you going to write the next one, the next one?
So basically, I was writing about me, you know, my family, and in a lot of ways, what we were going through. So, you know, Becky's nickname, I call her Sweetness, and the wife in the book is called Sweetness, and she's taking care of her sick husband.
And so she completed the book and then turned it into a screenplay. And then eventually we changed it to Leaves of the Tree. That's the name of it.
You're about to meet the man who wrote the words to make all this possible.
I was a theater major in college.
It is said we all have a story to tell. Dave Healy made his into a book. From the book came Healy's screenplay, which has won recognition, and now the film and production.
It was fun. It's like, you know, we produced a movie, other people buy a yacht, or, you know, have, you know, multi-million-dollar homes. We don't need that. We had fun doing this with our kids.
Whose idea was that, to turn it into a screenplay?
DJ's idea, yeah, I think. I'm pretty sure. I think they executive produced it. Eric Roberts played my dad.
Sweetness, where are you, baby?
Ready?
Yeah.
Sweetness is played by Sean Young. She's pretty much my mom.
You really should be in bed.
Joe's my last client.
You don't owe the firm a thing.
And Sweetness's like house in Texas. They literally used our house.
I played Danielle.
Cheers.
Danielle, go ahead.
Don't let her drink that.
I'm going to college in a few weeks.
Yes, you are.
Did you change the author name? Was it always DJ Healy?
No. In the movie, it says David J. Healy, but I always did this book as DJ Healy.
Really?
Yeah, well, because at this time I was having a lot of difficult issues, and I would rather be called DJ, and I didn't really like the David, but, I've been coping explicitly with being transgender for, at the time this book came out, 7 years. A lot of therapy, psychiatry, and the goal we had with my therapist was to have healthy outlets for it. I had everything to lose, and the pain that would be inflicted on my family the thought of it was unbearable. And so I came to another inflection point. You get to a point where you have to decide if you're gonna accept and manage and deal with being transgender, or let nature take its course.
So when you say you had reached a crisis, you're saying that you would recognize that if you didn't do something, you felt like you wanted to die.
I didn't want to die, but I felt like I couldn't live.
You couldn't go on living as Dave.
I couldn't live, period. I went into this thinking, I'm willing to lose everything except Becky, Hillary, and Sarah.
So my mom told my dad that we were gonna go shopping, me and her, but I ended up staying home. And my bedroom overlooks the backyard in Texas, so I can see. And I normally always have my blinds closed, but I guess for some reason that day I had them open. I was probably actually smoking weed out the window now. Now that I realize that. Yeah, she was in the pool wearing a lady swimsuit, and I was like, this doesn't make any sense. So I texted my mom and I was like, why is Dad wearing your swimsuit?
So I ran up there and she opened her window. She goes, Mom, Dad's in your bathing suit. And I was like, what the heck? And so I looked out the window and sure enough, he's in a bathing suit. He's not mine, but it's his. So I went downstairs and I went out there to talk to him and I said, Sarah just saw this. You're gonna have to deal with this now. I totally went ballistic. I was like, what the fuck are you doing? You should have, you should talk to Sarah. You have to talk to Sarah now. He is freaking out.
I didn't think anything was going on. I was just like, Dad's weird as hell. He probably just couldn't find his. It seemed like the type of thing if he couldn't find a swimsuit, he'd just be like, I guess this one works. I'm home alone, whatever.
I thought it was extremely inconsiderate for Sarah, for anything. It's like, don't do that shit without, making sure that everything's okay. He spoke to Sarah for a very long time, talked to her about it, explained everything to her. She was crying. He was crying. She was crying. I was crying. I was like, it's like, it wasn't my vision of how things should have happened.
For a long time, my mom thought it was a choice, and she was just really upset, why would DJ make that choice? But then she realized, this was the last thing DJ wanted. It was DJ was either gonna, die at 58 or, live her life as a woman. She was like, live your life as a woman.
What was that like for you?
It was pretty scary, knowing my mom. I was really scared that they were gonna break up. But, she didn't have to go much into in-depth explanation as, what being transgender meant or anything, because I already knew that. And I was like, it's okay, I still love you. I get it. I was just... I guess I felt bad, too, because it was, 18 years and I had no clue. And I kind of was like, has she been miserable this whole time? And I was a little bit mad at my mom for not letting her do what she wanted to do, but at the same time I know Becky was probably scared for her too, because we live in Texas and it's not the easiest place for that kind of stuff, so.
Basically, I think I got down to the point where either he was going to be able to start dressing all the time or he's going to kill himself because he was just so miserable and unhappy. And to me, which is more important? Do you want him dead or do you want him to be happy? He deserves to be happy. He's done so much for so many other people in this world that denying him to be happy is cruel to me.
And it was a really hard process for both of us, but especially for Becky, and we had some very traumatic times. And I came to realize that she wanted me alive and with her, regardless of what I was wearing. The months it took to realize I would not lose them. They're still going to have difficulty, but I would not lose them, which I should have known all along, I think. But that's when I knew I would not lose them, regardless of what else I lost. And then at that point, I was like, okay, I literally could not live another day as something other than me. And that's when I, for better or for worse, June 17th, 2017 was when I stopped living exclusively for other people and started living for me.
Did you know Kelly? Kelly, how are you?
There is another transgender woman that I would like you to talk to for a while. Her name's Jerry Young. She's a friend of mine.
And this is all homemade?
Yeah. Today?
Today.
No, and that's black cherry.
Okay.
But she had the opposite experience of me. Can I tell you a tasteless transgender joke? What's the difference between a cross-dresser and a trans woman? 2 years.
Whose joke is that? Yours?
Do you know how many trans women it takes to change a light bulb? It only takes one, but she needs letters from 2 different therapists to verify that it does need to be changed, and she needs to wait at least a year. Well, the song is about that place where you can be happy, where the world's not beating you up. I want you to be comfortable in my home.
Okay.
And this is your gig, so you're in charge.
Okay. Love it.
You're the big shot. So you flip the switch, you open the blinds, you just tell me to talk, whatever you want to. When I was a kid, it was in the 50s.
In the 50s.
It was in the 50s.
So
I was born in 1950, and one of my earliest recollections is lying in bed one winter night, just weighted down with heavy quilts, but just so extremely troubled, and I couldn't sleep. And I can remember slipping out from under those heavy covers and easing off the bed onto the floor onto my knees and assuming the best prayer posture I could muster up. I prayed for God to make me a girl, fully expecting to be a girl when I woke up. And it didn't happen.
how old were you then?
I'm guessing that I was maybe 4 or 5. I was the first person in the family to go to college and graduate from college, and I ended up graduating many times from college. It appears to me that trans women, and I know it's true in my case, and it probably is true in DJ's case, that if you can be over-the-top successful then it's like a smokescreen. That people see that success and they're less apt to closely examine you and get a clue as to who and what you really are. And so I majored in elementary education, and I got a Bachelor of Science degree in elementary education. Then I got a master's degree in school administration. And then I got a Doctor of Education in educational leadership. Oh, I got a master's degree in reading instruction also. I forgot about that one. So I have 7 dozen cupcakes.
Okay.
And I'll be parking in the maroon lot.
Right.
When I leave the house, I will message you. And can you work on bringing the golf cart to the parking lot?
Yeah.
Also, instruct the golf cart driver. They will be admitting or bringing 1 guest in.
Right.
Listen, Captain, I need to get ready.
All right.
See you soon.
All right.
All right, bye. Love you.
Love you too. Let's rodeo.
Let's rodeo. Yeehaw. I bring baked goods every place I go. Minette and Christina are tied for my best friend.
No.
It's a competition. I do volunteer work with the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo. To get all that stuff baked and to get it up to the rodeo grounds and through security and across the grounds and get it there in good shape for everybody to enjoy, there's a challenge in that. My job is wrangler, and it's kind of like a supervisor. Check on my ticket sellers, make sure everything is going well. If they need a break, I'll step in for them. It's a pretty cool thing to make people smile. We got chicken and salad. This is fresh made ranch.
Did you make it?
Uh-huh.
Wow.
And this is one of my special homemade salad dressings here.
You said you have a daughter. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, Ellen is adopted. Oh my gosh, she's the love of my life. Adopted during my first marriage. And we got her when she was 7 days old. Mm-hmm. And I was the one that got up with her every single night and changed the diaper and fed her and bathed her.
Your wife did know that this was something that you were dealing with.
Yes.
But it wasn't accepted.
It was never accepted. She wanted me to get help, but her idea of help was someone to make it go away. In an effort to relieve that internal conflict, that angst. In my case, I would get sneaky and deceptive. And I would say that I was someplace that I wasn't, so that I could be someplace where I could be myself. And it's nothing immoral, it's nothing against the law. Meet a friend for dinner. Maybe it was an overnight trip. I actually did some Christmas shopping one year, living as myself. Just the need for little episodes of authentically being yourself required great measures of deception. And some of that, came to light, which is not a good thing for a relationship. And I take full ownership in that. So, the relationship just cratered, and she left, and I transitioned.
You were 60 years old when you finally were able to come out, correct?
No, I was actually 66. Well, it feels great, except that, nobody wants to begin life when you're 70 years old. At the same time, I came out to my daughter and let her know that I was transgender. And she was supportive at first, but that support just stopped for no explanation. And I've not heard from her in several years. My gosh, it's like my heart breaks every day, over and over and over. And, you know, people that don't know might think that time will heal and that things get better, but they don't. They don't without closure, without resolution. If somebody dies, they're dead. You know, you move on. Life goes on. But when your daughter is still alive and you experience that loss over and over and over, I love them just as much as I always did. You know, maybe I didn't always show it the way they needed me to. I don't know, but I'm just human. I'm just human. And there's nothing really wrong with me. And I'm actually better now because I'm the real me. I'm living the way now that God created me. Yeah, my next door neighbor, when I first moved in, we were talking and I brought the subject up that I was transgender. And she said, well, I don't believe in that because I'm Christian. I said, can you explain that? She said, well, I grew up Catholic and I don't believe in transgender. And I said, how does that work? Anyway, she's my best friend now.
Joy to the world, the Savior reigns. Let all the songs endure. White fields and groves, lost fields and plains, repeat the sounding joy.
You know, I know what the official party line is in the Catholic Church. But, you know, it's most Catholics and most clergy are not hip with the anti-gay, anti-trans position. I've been very welcomed. But because there is a group that became uncomfortable, we stopped going to church, stopped going to Catholic church.
The Healy's were very big in the Catholic community, and everybody knows them in the Catholic community. So I opened up Facebook one morning, and I was shocked. I was like, what is this? What? And then, what? My concern with Becky, and I never talked to her about it, my concern and everybody who has talked to me about it, because I was the point person in Sugar Land for confirmation. It's kind of odd. Once that came out on Facebook, I was getting a lot of texts. The first thing they would say is, are they still married? I'll go, or how's Becky? And they'd never ask about DJ. I went to Maui with Becky and the girls right after that event. When I came back, I think they just felt like, you know, are they divorced? Is she divorcing him? Is she mad? And they kept asking me all these questions. I'm like, I don't know. Like, we don't talk about it.
I mean, you didn't confide in anyone for a long time, right?
No.
Did you talk to your best friends or your sister about it?
No.
No one?
No one. Nope.
Do you try to get her to open up?
Yeah. Yeah. She's not going to. Everything changed, you know. It's just a very different world since Dave transitioned into Danielle.
Thank you, Cutie.
Hold on a second.
Thank you, sweetness. You like this blouse?
Mm,
You don't like it?
you know me. Babe, it was $75.
It was on sale, Cutie, 40% off.
Are you going to the office?
No.
Okay, because you can't wear this to the office. Your back's open.
My back open?
Yeah, look.
Well, no, I'm not wearing it to the office.
So I would think that if my husband came out like that, I'm almost feel like if you want to be that, if you want to change your sexuality and you feel like that's your, yes, then that's fine, but I didn't sign up for that. And so then then you're sleeping with a woman, and that's kind of odd. But then again, when you're married over 20 years, there's stuff going on in the bedroom anyway. So it's kind of like you just sleeping with your playmate. To me, it's kind of like Becky lost her husband, not just divorced, but lost her husband. And so, especially in the Catholic community, and it's just kind of conservative over here, this is like Trump territory. So what people say about Texas is just true, is everyone's so nice here. They're so kind to your face. but it's behind closed doors or with friends is that when they're talking and they're saying ugly things. That's what people ask me. They say, is Becky a lesbian? And I go, I don't think so. I don't think just because her husband changes that she changes her sexual preferences either. So I don't know how that works.
You know, Becky and I have been together 33 years. We love each other deeply. Doesn't need a label. And I pause so that you can cut the film if you want. My niece, who's a college student, she was about 19 at the time, she looked at me and she said, Aunt DJ, does this mean that you and Aunt Becky are lesbians? And I looked at her and said, probably, but don't tell Aunt Becky.
I don't explain myself or DJ to anybody.
Do people ask you, do you consider yourself a lesbian now?
Nobody has ever asked me that.
Do you consider yourself a lesbian?
No, not at all. Not at all. But does it matter?
I don't think it matters.
I don't think it matters either.
Not at all.
I'm still who I am. DJ's still who she was. She just wears different clothes.
Drawn to her. And I think that was true when she was Dave, and I think it's true now. But it's almost like that personality, that trait of hers is magnified because she's so happy.
I had the really awesome opportunity to go to family court and work with Danielle to change her name officially.
Danielle does so much work in the pro bono field. Like, not only is she a badass in patent law, like, and anyone will tell you that, like, I came to Texas because people have said, like, the reason why you practice in, like, patent law is to, like, work with Danielle. And, like, I'm not even joking. Like, you're so notorious in the best way. But, like, she also has just been giving back so much in her pro bono work, and it's incredible.
My energy level is there. My willingness to help is, like, over the top because I know how much help these people need and how much they're suffering. And I also feel like, look, I took advantage of riding off of the backs of my LGBT sisters and brothers for decades. And while they were, you know, doing the early pride parades and they were doing the early demonstrations and they were dealing with all that stuff, I mean, I was making a lot of money being a lawyer in big firm America, and now I feel like it's my turn to pay it back.
The best part about it
y no dejaron a Raúl entrar porque no era abogado y había ido, entonces por eso terminé yo en el teléfono. She's been telling Raúl he should try to get a certification as a translator or something, and I said that might make it easier for him to get in, for example, when you want to go see Sasha or somebody.
Inauguramos esta casa, ¿verdad? Esta es una casa rentada, pero la inauguramos como un albergue para la comunidad trans y queer, no binaria, género no conforme o intersex. Soy Ana Andrea Molina y fundadora de la Organización Latina de Trans en Texas. Y así ha funcionado, ¿verdad? Ya tenemos un poco más de un año abiertas. Afortunadamente hemos conseguido los recursos para continuar un año más abierto. Bueno, pues soy una sobreviviente como mujer trans de la violencia que vive en mi país hacia las personas transgénero y hacia las personas de la diversidad en general, ¿verdad? El asunto con la comunidad transgénero es que se agrava aún más porque pasamos doble vulnerabilidad por no estar dentro de la normativa de la sociedad culturalmente hablando. Lamentablemente estamos emigrando porque seguimos siendo asesinadas en nuestros países, pero a decir verdad, no es tanta la diferencia en este país. Pero en definitiva, por ejemplo, en el estado de Texas, que es un estado siempre republicano, que todo lo que está fuera de su normativa está mal. La administración ha sido más dura este último año, desde la legislatura en Texas y la administración de Trump ha sido un ataque completamente directo a la comunidad LGBT. Ya no por ser inmigrante, sino por ser LGBT.
In his wisdom, God intentionally made each individual uniquely either male or female. When men or women claim to be able to choose their own sexual identity, they are making a statement that God did not know what he was doing when he created them.
But for heaven's sakes, you've got these rights. Allow people that believe what Moses said when he said, a man shall leave his father and mother, a woman leave her home, the two will become one flesh. Let them be able to practice the teaching of Moses.
You used God to enslave my foreparents. You used God to segregate me in school. You used God to put me in the back of the bus. Have you no shame?
Conocí a Danielle hace un par de años en una conferencia para la comunidad trans aquí en Houston, Texas, y desde entonces siempre estuvo tratando de interactuar conmigo. Lastimosamente la barrera del lenguaje siempre es un impedimento para mí. Para mí creo que es de las pocas personas que yo considero blancas con privilegios, pero que son unas aliadas muy fuertes, ¿verdad? Sin pensarlo, cuando llegó a sus manos la propuesta de llevar el caso de una mujer transgénero en un centro de detención y no negarse, sino tratar de decir, oh sí, yo conozco a Ana Andrea, ¿verdad?
So she's asking whether we got a package from Raul about Honduras, where there's an article in the law that says that if you dress contrary to your gender, that you get arrested for X number of days. Have you seen that?
I haven't seen that.
Did you forward that packet to me?
I will send. I didn't get any packet with that in it.
No tenemos
But we have a pile of evidence.
Hold on. So what happened is the way I got involved initially was DJ went to the detention center and had taken Raul, who works with Andrea, and they are not lawyers, and they cannot, so when they go to visit somebody in the detention center, they have to go in as friends. Well, apparently Raul had already used up whatever points he had to be able to get in, and so here's DJ. Sasha does not speak English. The phone rings, and it's a number I don't recognize, which I rarely answer numbers that I don't recognize, but I thought, I'm going to answer this one. And it was DJ calling me from the detention center saying, hey, can you help me? I need an interpreter.
I'm representing a 19-year-old transgender woman from Honduras.
They came from far and wide, migrants from all parts of Honduras, gathering at the bus station in San Pedro Sula and settling in for a long night of camping out before a dawn departure. This caravan of families set off on the harrowing journey to the United States.
No me gusta recordar mi infancia en Honduras. No sufrí mucho, sí sufrí, pero creo que tuve que huir, no porque yo quise. Por la incorrupción, por el vandelismo, por la inseguridad, por el racismo. Cuando hablo de racismo me refiero a género y religión.
This case is just so sad. This young person at age 18, high school kid, the gang that controlled her neighborhood in Honduras decided to make her their sex toy. And in a period of about 2 weeks, 4 gang members forced her to perform oral sex and then raped her 10 times.
O sea, toda la comunidad LGBTQ en Honduras, esa comunidad somos como que muy odiadas. No nos permiten ser libres, no nos permiten vivir como queramos y tampoco es muy duro porque no puede una mujer transexual no puede salir a la media calle sin que porque en cada lugar de Honduras hay muchas bandas. Las propias policías del estado de Honduras lo mataban. La mataban a transexuales y yo sentía mucho temor por eso.
And when she tried to escape to her grandmother's house in another part of Honduras, within 2 days, they tracked her down, found her, went the 300 kilometers from her neighborhood to her grandmother's house, and the 4 of them forced her to perform oral sex on them, and then all 4 raped them. So then she and her mother got money together to put her on a bus north. She had relatives and friends in the U.S.
Y ellos me preguntaron, ¿cuál es su nombre? Y yo dije, mi nombre es Sacha Samantha Simón. No. ¿Cuál es su nombre legal? Soy una mujer, señor oficial. Y el oficial me dice, creo que solo hay 2 sexos. Está hombre y mujer. No puede haber más. Así que yo no veo eso. Jamás en mi vida he estado encerrada. Y me sentía una delincuente, una persona que no debería estar ahí. Y más que en la detención, las camas olían muy horribles. Aparte que olían muy horribles, las sábanas olían horribles. O sea, lo duro de la cama, cuando te levantabas, amanecías con dolor de espalda. La comida. Yo toda mi vida he sido como una persona que come mucho y a mí me ha gustado que come mucho. Aparte que en la detención llegué hasta el punto de que habían cosas que no me gustaban y que me hacían daño, pero lo tenía que comer por hambre, para no sufrir hambre en la noche. Porque la verdad es que donde yo estaba en una celda donde había muchos hombres, muchos hombres. Y todos ellos, hay veces, cuando hay gente nueva, empezaban como a decir, viene gente nueva. O de repente decían, viene un maricón. O sea, lo que hay dentro de las piernas no importa. Eso no identifica tu género.
Somebody's making real money off of ICE and the federal government with these prisons. It's nuts. I have represented criminals in the Texas Department of Corrections who are really nasty, horrible people who've done nasty, horrible things in different court-appointed cases. This was much worse than Texas Department of Public Safety facility, and those are not nice.
This is what a ticking time bomb looks like, according to a facility manager inside an overpacked detention center in Texas. A new Homeland Security Inspector General report shows migrants wedged together inside overcrowded rooms.
She was about to be deported because the way our system works is if you don't have a lawyer and they're not required to appoint a lawyer for you in immigration, in effect, you get deported. And so just about a month ago, some folks from some of the civil rights groups I work with tracked me down one evening and asked me if I would represent this lady. And I had the court hearing, got the judge to basically give us a do-over. We had to file 1,250 pages of briefs, affidavits, and other evidence to show that she was, in fact, subject to being persecuted, and I mean persecuted, I don't mean, ridiculed, I mean being raped and killed if she gets returned to Honduras, that the police won't do a darn thing about it, and that she needs asylum in the U.S. Her hearing is in a couple of weeks, and so, we're hoping for the best. It's just ridiculous that we keep someone who is the rape victim in prison for 6 months with the threat of being shipped back to certain death in Honduras, as opposed to treat that in a realistic way where the outcome is she's going to get asylum, or she should get asylum. So let's start making it work for the government. Let's start making it work for the city of Houston. Let's start making it work for her.
Houston's Proposition 1 bathroom ordinance. What does it mean to you? Any man at any time could enter a woman's bathroom simply by claiming to be a woman that day. No one is exempt. Even registered sex offenders could follow women or young girls into the bathroom, and if a business tried to stop them, they'd be fined. Protect women's privacy. Prevent danger. Vote no on the Proposition 1 bathroom ordinance. It goes too far.
What Dan Patrick, the lieutenant governor, did in 2017, he tried to push through a bill that prohibited people from using the bathroom other than for the sex they were assigned at birth. This is a totally made-up issue. There was no record in Texas, or really anywhere else, of men masquerading to go into the ladies' room to assault women. If anything, what you find is people attacking transgender citizens in bathrooms, and transgender people are the ones who need protection.
You can mark today as the day that Texas is drawing a line in the sand and saying no. The privacy and safety of Texans is our first priority, not political correctness.
Seeley.
Thank you, Your Honor, and City Council. I'd like to thank you, first of all, for creating an atmosphere in Houston that helped to save my life. I am transgendered. Surprise. And I just wanted to say that every transgender person gets to the point where they either choose life or choose death with a bullet, a bottle, or a needle. I was able to choose life because of this city. Most public schools will have 1 or 2, maybe 3 trans children, many years none. But every faculty member or staff member has to police that child and send that child somewhere else to the bathroom where they're not allowed, because they're not allowed to go with their classmates. That child is going to be made to feel less than. That child is going to be stigmatized. That child is going to be bullied. And when that happens, we see horrible things come out of it. So I think that what this city needs to do is continue to press our state representatives, to press even on Governor Abbott, to oppose this bathroom bill. A lot of my career success, I believe, has been because of my creativity and different strategies that I've come up with or ideas that I've implemented that were not on the standard playbook. I believe that creativity and strategic thinking and problem solving that I had to learn my whole life in coping with being trans actually translated into something that became very beneficial for my clients. And I also think that's one reason why diversity is so important. It's only when you mix it up that you're going to get a lot of different points of view of how to deal with the same problem and maybe get a new creative way that's more effective to handle a challenge. I can get instant acceptance because I am a white person who's educated with money. On the other hand, I've learned that being a middle-aged woman in our society is not the same as being a privileged middle-aged white man. I've been on both sides of the table, and I can tell you, girls, not close, not close. No, you're not in the club. Definitely not. And yes, there is a club. So there's still a long way to go, and I think a lot of younger women want to believe younger professional women want to believe, oh yeah, we've made it. It's like, you're a lot better off than you were, but as society and the legal profession as a whole, no. So I think society's got a long way to go, and I think with trans people, it has a long way to go. I've definitely can sense and know where, I don't have the same seat at the table as I had before I transitioned, but I'm glad to make that effort now to bring about a seating arrangement that's based solely on merit as opposed to the accident of your birth or the advantages you had growing up. Now that I'm a woman, I had an incident which was just blew me away, where I was in a nice restaurant in Georgetown, and this guy comes and sits down. We're eating dinner at the bar. This guy comes and sits down next to me. Becky's on the other side of me, and he just starts hitting on me. And he kept it up. He grabbed my head and tried to turn my head to kiss me. He ended up kissing my cheek. Then he starts rubbing his leg against me. I mean, I was...
And Becky's there?
She's there. She called the bartender over. I was just so shocked. I didn't know what to do. I mean, in guy mode, I would have thrown his chair back. But as a woman being assaulted like that, I just froze. And that's the difference, I think, between a female perspective and a male perspective, is that until I was a woman, I became a woman full time, and I went through that, I didn't realize that happened all the time. I didn't realize that could happen to anybody.
Here you go, darling. It's been an honor to be part of this journey, because if not, I would have been outside of it or clueless and not really realizing the pain, the energy, the emotion that is needed just to get through the day. I mean, I'll do things, get through the day, not even think about it, and then I'll watch my DJ try to get through the day as a transgender woman, and it takes a lot more energy.
And I think Becky's getting very frustrated with the political atmosphere in Texas, because it's really oppressive. I mean, to have this in the news every day, to have this in the newspaper every day, to have this be the big topic of conversation. And when it's trans, everywhere. I mean, trans people I know are really like depressed and stressed out. Becky's depressed and stressed out for me.
Right. She's worried about your safety, and I mean, you just don't want to live in that environment.
Right. And it's like, I really don't want to live in that environment.
When you look at DJ, do you still see the person that you fell in love with?
Yes and no, because I've seen what society has done to a person who is such a giving, amazing, confident, or was confident, brilliant leader in the legal world, come to people have thought, oh, you put on a dress and your brain is gone. You know, it's that kind of, it's like you're a different person. You're not a different person. You're still the brilliant, walking encyclopedia of the law that you've always been. You know, they'll talk to you to your face, oh, let's get together, you know, I have a case I want to talk to you about, whatever. And then, you know, you'll meet or whatever, and then, like, you know, nothing ever comes out of it. It's like, you know, why not? Because they're afraid, as the client, is the judge gonna, you know, be, you know, anti-LGBT? Is the jury gonna be? How am I gonna, you know, how are you ever gonna be able to go into a courtroom, because, you know, you're not going to be respected in there, and we're going to lose. So why hire you?
In terms of my career, that's been an unexpected trajectory. I'm someone who as a guy, was very sought after. And as a trans woman, isn't at all. And that's disheartening. I'm not getting hired. So I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I've lost it. Maybe I've become stupid all of a sudden. I don't know. And so when I go in before a United States Court of Appeals in a significant commercial case, and I win, and not only do I win, but I win hands down, fast, quick, that is an affirmation that I'm not crazy. And I don't want anyone to hire me because I'm a trans woman. I want them to hire me for the same reason they hired me for the last 30 years. Because I'm a smart, very creative, very strategic, hardworking thinker. My life is the law and my family. This is what I do. I live and breathe the law. And diversity is meaningless without inclusion. Basically, applauding my right to exist and giving me permission to exist isn't the same as letting me compete for the same business I did before. And getting hired is luck. There's a lot of personality. There's a lot of je ne sais quoi, or whatever the heck that means. But it just blows my mind that some companies and firms and whatnot that tout, their diversity, don't even return my call.
It's bullshit. It is such bullshit. In fact, we were at a conference last year. I think that she had an hour of speaking or something. And I said, you need to get, because it's all these CEOs from all these companies around the world, right? I mean, powerful people. Diversity, 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 right? Okay. So if I was the one that went up to that podium to speak to these people, I would basically just tell them, quit saying you do this shit when you fucking don't. It's a facade. It's bullshit. You do not include the LGBT world.
But the flip side of all this is I've gotten to have a feeling of personal reward that is much deeper than I had in the past. And I became an accidental activist. I didn't transition to be an activist. I mean, if I'd had my choice, I never would have transitioned at all. Period. End of story. I transitioned because I was forced by time, circumstances, life, and nature to give in because I couldn't hold it back any longer. And it had the unexpected consequence of, in effect, losing much of my law practice for paying clients, but it had the accidental consequence of me being one of very few trans women lawyers who are out in the United States, the only trans woman lawyer at what I'll call a big firm in Texas at the time. Now there are a couple others. I'm not going to out them.
When did you meet Danielle?
Creo que esa es mi parte favorita. Esa es mi parte favorita. Amo recordar eso, te lo juro. Amo recordar eso. Es lo mejor que me había pasado. Acá. Cuando yo pensé que ya estaba, cuando yo pensé que ya estaba todo ya acabado, me acuerdo que tenía muchas cortes. El juez me decía, no tienes un abogado. Miro a una mujer que estaba encerrada, una mujer con pelo largo, digo yo, una mujer aquí en la detención, o sea que no soy la única, dice. De repente veo que era una chica trans también. Pues la chica me miró llorando y me dice, Sacha, hola, mucho gusto. Y yo, hola, ¿por qué estás llorando? es que no tengo un abogado. No tengo un abogado y creo que voy a volver a Honduras otra vez. Y ya no puedo más con este encierro. Y viene ella y me dice, no te preocupes, estás en los Estados Unidos y no veas para atrás.
Good doggy.
Hi, I'm Sarah.
Nice to meet you,
Nice to meet you. I'm
Okay.
you.
Sasha takes very good care of me. Becky's away. Sasha takes care of me. So, since I can't go upstairs and I can't really lift heavy things like the lasagna pan's too heavy for me to lift, or the trash, Sasha is in charge of lifting everything. Right?
Yeah.
She's in charge of lifting. Lifting is Sasha's department. Stairs are her department. And Sasha she's our Honduran American daughter.
I love that.
She's now our Honduran American daughter. And she's much better behaved than her sisters. I had such empathy for her. And I also realized that this was her chance to actually live her true life. You know, if she went back to Honduras, she'd be killed and wouldn't have a life. But if she did have a life, she'd have to be heavily closeted and wouldn't be able to live as she really needs to live to be happy. So my understanding the last day or two that they needed some things in Honduras, that this friend of hers is going to drive through Mexico, Guatemala, to San Pedro Sula, to where her mom is, and we're going to go to this fellow's place where he's staying and bring him these things. Okay, Sasha, give me your hands. Here, let me spray you first. Whoop, whoop.
I remember when I'm young, when I'm the little John, so me ponía like mop, the hair mop on my hair. So I put it up when my mom is not here in the house, so I put up the hair mop in my hair. I put it on I close my mom. I put on music. I'm mother in my house. I remember. So,
how old were you, do you think?
5. Yeah. I remember I like Shakira's music. The Shakira, and dance Shakira. Oh my God. I say, I'm Shakira. Sorry, I'm Shakira. I say to people, people say me, what? I'm sorry, you man. You know Shakira because Shakira is a girl.
Becky is now in LA helping Sarah out, getting moved into and settled into a new place. And she was going to do this before she left, or Sarah would have done it, either one of them. But, in all the confusion and preparation and packing, it's just something we forgot about. It's not a high priority item, so we just kind of forgot about it. I had this hardest time with makeup for a long time. It's really hard to learn how to fix your hair and put on makeup in your 50s. I mean, stuff stuff you learn as a 13 or 14-year-old girl at slumber parties, I'm trying to teach myself, or maybe a makeup person teach me at 50 or 55. Okay? Yeah. Awesome, Sasha. Thank you, sweetie. The only time I don't have a wig on is usually either early in the morning or late at night at home. I wear wigs at home full time. I mean, I get up and I put on my wig. And when Becky and I are here alone, I'm wearing a wig. I'm always wearing a wig because that's me. That's what I want to look at. When I see myself in the mirror, I want to see a woman. And I really... This sounds really bizarre, but I'm a fat, very, very fat
unattractive 60-year-old trans woman. But I like the way I look now, and when I look in the mirror now, it makes me happy. Whereas I spent most of my life avoiding mirrors because I hated seeing what I saw in the mirror. And now, even though I'm a fat old broad, I'm really happy with what I see in the mirror.
What's been going on?
Well, I'm good, so chilling.
Her English has gotten so good.
Oh my God. For real?
Do you remember when I was telling the story about here, poor Sasha's behind plexiglass. You're sitting, we're in a room this big. I know when we would leave because we couldn't hug each other, we would do this on the glass.
Do you think that you'll stay in Texas when you start your new career?
Primero quiero ver dónde están mis oportunidades o dónde me salen mis oportunidades. Y si yo veo que mis oportunidades están en California, pues me quedo en California. Si veo que mi oportunidad está en New Orleans o New York, estoy viendo dónde me conviene más estar. Amo, quisiera que mi mamá estuviera aquí. Uf. Mi mamá siempre quiso ser enfermera. Creo que todavía puede hacerlo. Sí puedo presentar a Danielle a mi mamá y lo voy a hacer. Creo que Danielle, no sé cómo agradecer a Danielle. No sé cómo agradecerlo. Por tantas cosas que ha hecho por mí. Daniel siempre me dice que la manera de cómo pagarle es graduándome de la escuela. Esa es la mejor manera de cómo pagarme. Muy bien. Muy bien y con muchas sorpresas. Creo que tengo muchas cosas de mí. Tengo muchas cosas de mí que demostrar. Y eso es lo que me siento. Eso es lo que pienso. Eso es lo que pienso. Tengo mucho de mí que demostrar. Así que, claro, ¿por qué no?
Hey, Sasha, come swimming, baby. You met Jerry earlier, right, sweetie?
Huh?
You met Jerry earlier.
Yeah.
I think y'all probably met at Ana Andrea's at some point.
It's wonderful that Sasha, at such a young age, was able to accept herself and be herself and live her truth.
Sasha!
Oh my God!
And she's gorgeous and warm and wonderful, and she's going to be a happy, fulfilled woman in her life. And that's awesome. On the other hand, I would not have traded anything. You know, my wife, Becky, and my two daughters mean more to me than anything in the world. And I would not have changed a thing if it would have cost me Becky or my kids.
I don't know.